Welcome to the Chewy Decimal Cooking Show, brought to you by the Friends of the Eastham Library. My name is Elaine Lipton, and I'm an avid home cook. I live here in Eastham. I've been here for about 22 years, and before that I lived in Europe for 4 years and in Japan for 10 years. So I've been cooking food from a lot of different places for a very long time. My family loves to eat, and they like to eat food from all over the place, and so I've been doing some recipes that we all enjoy. Today, however, I'm doing my grandmother's chicken soup. Chicken soup is something that we ate in my house, certainly on holidays, but also whenever we could get my mother to make a soup. Chicken soup is something that, as a child, reminded me of stone soup, because relatives from all over would come and everybody would bring something and throw it into the pot. My mom would take us to the butcher and we would pick out a chicken that we would bring home. He would kill and pluck for us, and we would bring it home to use, feet and all, in the soup. And it was a kind of a family event. Chicken soup was something that I grew up thinking of as Jewish penicillin. It was something we ate when we had colds, when we were sick, when we were not feeling well or having trouble sleeping. It was something I loved so much that I was known at holiday dinners to not eat dessert and instead take my bowl and get another bowl of soup instead of whatever else was there for dessert. It's a very simple thing to make, but it's also an incredibly useful thing to have. We take vegetables and cook them. I cook them until they're falling apart. Everything that could possibly be drawn out of them is in the stock. And then I strain the stock. Keep the chicken and the carrots and whatever other vegetables somebody would like to eat aside so that we can put them in a bowl with whatever starch we're putting in, either matzo balls or noodles or rice, and get rid of everything else. And then I strain the stock and freeze it and use it for other soups, for risotto, for paella, for anything you need a nice rich stock for. It's a very, very useful thing, and from my mind, one of the most delicious. So let's start with our ingredients. The first thing we're going to use is a whole chicken, right? You can buy whole chickens, roasters, sometimes soup chickens, sometimes broilers. Any whole chicken will do. It's really important to have both the meat and the bones, as with any soup. If you're making beef soup, you like to have a beef bone in it as well. You can use chicken parts. My daughter uses a roast chicken that she buys in the grocery store and eats the meat off of, and then just uses the carcass to make her chicken soup. So you really do have lots of options. I put it in the pot with the back down. So the breast has nice big pieces of meat on it. You can tell which is the breast side of the chicken. Chicken goes in first so that it is absolutely submerged when you cover it with water. And I put it in with the back side down. So we'll put our chicken in the pot. Then I use about a pound package of celery that I'll trim the ends off of. If it's easy to get a whole bunch of celery with the leaves and everything on it, that works as well. I then just cut it in half so that it fits easily in the pot and comes out easily when I'm ready to take it out. Celery goes in. Then I take a pound package of carrots, trim the ends, peel them, and they can go in. After the carrots, I use parsnips. Again, trim the ends, peel them, and put parsnips in. Parsnips and carrots are both vegetables that have an incredible amount of sugar in them, and they give a really nice, rich sweetness to the soup. I imagine also that these are vegetables that were very, very readily available in times of yore, as it were. Okay, they're not expensive vegetables. They're root vegetables that grow almost everywhere, and I think that for that reason, they are used in a lot of old recipes. I put in 2 cloves of garlic just for fun. 3 or 4 whole onions. With the onions, all you really need to do is trim off the ends. Take off the skin and 1 layer if it seems like it needs to, and you can put the whole onion in. Again, just like that. We'll do that with these other 2 onions as well. I do also put in a little chunk of ginger if I happen to have that in the refrigerator. Okay. And the last thing is dill. And dill just adds a really nice flavor to the soup. If you can get a big bunch of dill, that works great. This is all I could get at the grocery store this week, was very fancy organic dill in small packages. But what I do with the dill is I will also just trim off the very ends of the tips. And I'll take some string. Oh, I had scissors here before. A little bit of string. Tie it around the end of the dill. This is butcher's string. It's just a cotton string that butchers use it to tie up turkey legs when you're cooking turkeys, or you can buy it in the grocery store. Anyway, when you do your dill this way, it goes in as a little bouquet, and it's really easy then to take a pair of tongs and take it out at the end of the cooking. So there we have it. Everything is there in the pot. Now we're just going to fill the pot with water. Fill the pot with water and then put it on the stove. Cover it. Put it on high heat, bring it to a boil, and then turn it down to simmer. And I usually let it simmer for 3 or 4 hours, just until everything in it is soft. While your soup is cooking, you can make your noodles if you're going to use noodles. You can make your rice if you're going to use rice, or you can make your matzo balls, which is what I did for the soup today. Matzo balls are made from basically like breadcrumbs, except made from matzah, which are dried, very dried crackers, essentially. And there's always a recipe on the side of the can for how to make them. It's basically matzah meal, eggs, water, or soup stock, and a little bit of oil. Mix that up. You make a paste out of it, basically a batter. You put it in the refrigerator for 20 minutes to chill, and then you boil water and make sort of meatballs with it. I use a cookie scoop, and that way they don't get very packed. They're nice and round. You put them in boiling water. They cook for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then you have matzo balls that you can put in your chicken soup. So there we have matzo balls in chicken soup. And when I serve my soup, Then I put some chicken and some carrots and the matzo balls into a bowl with some of the soup, and there you have it. I don't salt my chicken soup because I use it when cooking a lot of other things that I would add other spices and salt to. And so I have stock then that's not salted. So when I serve my chicken soup, we almost always put a thing of salt on the table with it so people can salt it themselves.